Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing worst things to ask an ex on the first chat after a breakup. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing worst things to ask an ex on the first chat after a breakup. So if you have gone through a breakup, it can be very exciting if you get the chance to chat with your ex again. But what should you ask? Or more importantly, what shouldn't you ask? In today's podcast, I'm going to discuss 3 of the worst things you could ask your ex if you get chance to chat with them again. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is, have you been close with anyone else? Now, of course, this could be any version of this type of question. Have you slept with anybody else? Have you been with anybody else? Anything along those lines is something you want to be avoiding asking your ex during this first conversation. So this podcast is based around that first chat, that first conversation that some people will get to have with their ex again in the future. If you have opportunity to speak with your ex again, whether this is via text, whether this is over the phone, whether this is in person, in this first chat, I certainly don't suggest you ask your ex if they've been close with anybody else. During the first chat after a breakup, it's very important that you present yourself as somebody who is stable-minded, who is happy, carefree and fun. If you ask your ex if they've been with anybody else since your breakup, that suggests that you are needy, that suggests that you are jealous, maybe possessive, all of these negative type of traits that you certainly don't want to be showcasing. Now, this doesn't mean that in the future, this type of conversation doesn't have to take place. I'm not saying that at no point this question is never asked, but it has to be asked at the right time and in the right way. And that is certainly not in the first conversation. So ultimately, I don't suggest that you ask this type of question because it won't do you any good. It will make you look needy, possessive or jealous. Additionally, it can present yourself as somebody who is being forceful to your ex. Maybe you are giving them an ultimatum. Even if you don't mean to be, your ex might see this as an ultimatum. Your ex might see this as, gosh, if I say the wrong answer here, maybe we won't be able to continue this conversation. So the answer you get might not even be truthful. You don't want a pressurized conversation, certainly not in this first chat. Make sure you're presenting yourself as somebody who is happy, carefree and fun, not somebody who is excessively quizzing their ex about what they've been doing during their time apart. You don't want to be putting your ex under this pressure. You don't want to be pushing your ex into a corner. Because if you give somebody an ultimatum, whether you mean to or not, you will generally get the answer you don't want to hear because they will become defensive. You will not gain anything from this because even if your ex was to respond with, no, I've not been with anybody, within a day or two, you are likely to start thinking, well, did they just say that? How can I believe them? So you will be unlikely to believe whatever they say anyway. So there is no point. Please make sure that you don't ask this worst question, which is, have you been close with anyone else? So now let's get into point number 2 and another worst question you should never ask your ex if you get the opportunity to chat with them again after a breakup. And point number 2 is, do you want to get back together? Now, similar to point number 1, as you can see from point number 2, question number 2, this would add a lot of pressure. This would push your ex into a corner. And this really, truly is an ultimatum. This makes you look once again as somebody who is very needy, somebody who wants to grab hold of any opportunity because they don't have any other options. Therefore, it presents yourself as a low value individual. You want to be showcasing yourself as somebody who has options, as somebody with an abundance mindset. If in your first chat with your ex, you ask them if they would like to get back together, then this will show that you do not have abundance. This would show that you are low value. This would show that you've put your ex onto a pedestal and you think to yourself, gosh, I've had this one opportunity to chat. I want to grab this with both hands. I want to tie them down into a new relationship. Life doesn't work this way. If you are speaking with your ex again, then there is a chance that both of you have started to feel an increase in romantic emotional attraction once more. But this doesn't mean you are both at the necessary high point to reconnect. The communication stage needs to be navigated effectively, and it needs to be navigated carefully. Do not add pressure. Do not ask your ex to get back together in this very first chat. It's not going to help you. And in the vast majority of instances, you will get a negative response back. Even if your ex may have considered getting back together in the future, if you put them under this kind of pressure on the first chat, they will likely run a mile and you will never see what the future may have held for you. Don't chase your ex away at the first opportunity. Showcase yourself as happy, carefree and fun, and have the aim of moving the conversation forward in a way that either you can speak on the phone, maybe you can have a video call, maybe you can meet in person. If you're already meeting in person, if this is the first situation where you are already meeting, then the aim is to meet again. Okay, in essence, the first conversation, in whatever way it has taken place, the aim of it, the target, the goal, is to have another conversation moving it forward. So that might be from messaging to telephone call, from telephone call to video call, from video call to meet. It could be skipping some of those steps. It could be from messaging to meet. And as I've just said, if your first time of having a conversation is actually in person, which is very unlikely, but occasionally it happens, the aim should be to meet again. When you have a date with your ex, the aim is to have another date. It's not to create dating labels. It's not to put pressure. It's not to form a new relationship straight away in this first moment. No, all you want to be doing is having another conversation, having another meet, taking things forward. Do not put your ex under pressure. You are unlikely to hear the answer that you want, even if they may have considered it further down the line. Don't chase them away. So now let's move into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast, the final question of worst things to ask an ex on the first chat after a breakup. And point number 3, question number 3 is, can we talk about the breakup? So, of course, if you need to apologise, then you need to do so. If you need to apologise for something, then yes, you need to apologise. But if you don't need to apologise, then don't bring up the breakup unless your ex does. The rule of thumb, the aim that you want to be moving forward with here is unless your ex brings up the breakup, then you don't. The breakup was likely to have been very traumatic. The breakup was likely to have been very painful. And you don't want to be bringing up these type of emotions, these feelings, these memories during your first conversation since you broke up. No, as I've said, as I keep saying, happy, carefree and fun. That is the aim. Happy, carefree and fun. Not stressful, not dramatic, not bringing things up that don't need to be brought up. Similar to point number 1. There will be a time and place to speak about your breakup. If you move to the steps where you're getting closer and closer back together, maybe you have met multiple times, maybe you've had multiple conversations, it will likely naturally come up certain elements of your breakup. But let this be from your ex. As I said, there is a caveat unless you need to apologise. If you need to apologise for something, then of course you need to do this. Use your common sense. But if you don't, then never bring up the breakup unless your ex does first. You need to be showcasing yourself as somebody with a stable mind, somebody who's moving forward with positivity, somebody who is not holding on to the past with negativity. You don't want to be the type of person who looks like they're stuck in the past, stuck in a time warp in the past, full of negativity and full of drama. No, you want to be showcasing yourself as somebody who is better than that, moving forward, positive, with ambition, somebody who has options. You need to have an abundance mindset. Don't keep bringing back negativity. Your ex might be thinking, I just want to have a positive conversation and see if my former partner has a stable mind now. Can we have a sensible conversation? Can we have a fun conversation? Can we have a conversation that doesn't go wrong, that doesn't go bad, that doesn't go dramatic, that doesn't get tearful? So make sure you do what you need to do. Make sure you are that person who is positive, who is stable-minded, who can have a conversation without dragging up the past and causing an argument. This is not the time for an argument. This is not the time for blaming your ex for something. This is not the time for really bringing everything into the mix as for why things went wrong before. No. As I've said, moving forward from this, it will come a time, no doubt, where your ex will bring things up and you can have a sensible, calm conversation, but not in your first chat. Your first chat is trying to arrange the next chat, like I've said. You've got to be attractive. People don't want to spend time with people who are dramatic, who have negative emotions. You need to be the type of person that others want to spend time with, the type of person that your ex wants to spend time with. And that type of person is not living in the past, full of drama, full of hatred, full of sadness, full of emotion. Stay stable-minded, stay calm, stay positive, happy, carefree and fun. Apologise if you need to, but if you don't, only bring up the breakup if your ex does first. Otherwise, don't do it. So I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you can see that if you get opportunity to speak with your ex again, there are certain things you shouldn't be bringing up in your first conversation. And I hope this has helped you to navigate this communication stage a little easier. It can be very challenging, but if you do it right, you stand every chance of one day getting your ex back. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.